Hi, my name is Lauren, and I am here to discuss the direct refutation of my advocate's policy debate. Now, first, I will discuss certain stock issues in the original blame, the cure, and the costs, and then I will point out certain reference weaknesses in their case. Now, for my first point, I would like to bring up the blame in our advocates debate, which states that our structural blame is on state regulations and our attitudinal blame is going to be on the public. Well, now the advocate did not thoroughly explain as to why our blame was placed there, which does leave it up to question for our audience. Well, next is the advocate's cure. Now, there was really no explanation as to how this cure will work. The advocate did state that the drivers will take this exam annually, but then goes on to state the different regulations other actual states have made for their drivers that have been enacted since 2012 to 2016, which does not really have an effect on the advocate's cure for this specific policy debate. So this point leaves the audience wondering what exactly would be entailed in these exams that are now going to be required for our elderly drivers. Well, this brings us to our cost. The advocate did not state the cost of enacting this new rule, but instead stated what would happen if they did not enact this new rule by bringing up that granting a license gives a rise to expected crash costs. And I believe that it also said, which is calculated as the social cost of a crash multiplied by the probability of a crash. Well, the cost that comes to my mind personally when it comes to enacting this new rule would be our senior drivers, are they willing to pay for these 3 extra exams yearly? Do they get any help paying? Is there a specific doctor who's going to perform these exams? Or does each citizen have to follow up with their own doctors to do their exams? These questions come into mind. What about insurance involvement? Are we going to put our seniors into debt in order for them to keep their driver's license? There's a lot of poverty here in this nation, and I would personally hate to find that my neighbor is not getting his usual groceries because now he's lost his license due to not being able to afford these 3 extra exams because he has no insurance. There's a lot of questions here with this cure. But finally, we have reached my final point, which is the references. The advocate provided really well thought out information and research, but it was noted that there was an article titled Aging Population and Driver Licensing, a Policy Perspective, which that source happens to come directly from Canada. It's a Canadian policy, so unfortunately that has nothing to do with what the United States would make as a decision. And then the next source in question would be Elders Behind the Wheel, which happens to be dated at almost 20 years old now. These sources, while they would be great at some point, but were not the most reliable for this particular debate. And from here, we will move on to close. Throughout this refutation, I truly hope that you were able to see that there are a few issues with this advocate policy debate. And that was to require seniors age 75 and older to have to take a driver's test, a cognitive test, and an eye test annually. I identified these certain stock issues in the original blame, the cure, and the costs, and I pointed out a few reference weaknesses in the case. Now, I hope through this argument that the advocate is able to revise and find a new way to keep our seniors safe, because truly that is what we all want. We just have to find the best way to do it. Thank you.